Good morning. Good morning. Please grab a seat, grab some food, grab some coffee, grab a seat. Good morning.
Good morning.
There we go. Thank you. Talking back to me. We've got some great sponsors this morning. They brought a wonderful breakfast and coffee. And who would like to chat first? First American, you guys want to come on up?
Sure.
We have the privilege of having Kelly Flores, the president, here today, and she's got some great information for us.
Well, thank you
It's all
so
yours.
much. Thank you so much for allowing us to come in. Everyone know Jason Tabling, escrow officer in our DTC office, so he does the hard stuff for sure. So I have 5 minutes, I've been told, and this is a conversation that probably could last more than 5 minutes, but I wanted to talk about non-refundable earnest money. Who recently has had a contract that addresses or has a provision in there that the earnest money is non-refundable? Has anyone ran into that lately? No? Okay. We are starting to see that more and more, and typically how we see that in the contract is it comes over and it says earnest money is non-refundable. Okay, so what does that mean? What does that mean to you in a contract? It's hard, right? So should we just go ahead and give it to the seller right then and there? No? Why not?
Everything's negotiable.
Everything's negotiable. But the perception, I'm sorry?
It's only refundable if they default. I mean,
Okay.
do you know how to say to the buyer?
Earnest money release solves everything, because that's our mutual instruction from our perspective. But we're seeing more and more that in the contract it says earnest money is non-refundable. But we had a transaction where the earnest money was non-refundable whether it closed or not. Okay, so is it non-refundable if it doesn't close? Is it non-refundable if it does close? If it's non-refundable, then presumably this is the seller's money, right? That's some assumptions out there from some in the transaction. And if that's the case, then if we can go ahead and give it to the seller right then and there, if buyer objects to that, is it really non-refundable? So these are some of the questions that we have when we get language in contracts that says earnest money is non-refundable. And when we ask for further instruction, sometimes people go, well, what do you mean? Non-refundable is non-refundable. But all the questions we just went through is some of the questions we struggle with. And certainly we want to proceed how all the parties are in agreement to proceed. That's what we do, right? We follow mutual instruction. We don't make those decisions. We follow mutual instruction. So earnest money release or some type of instruction in the contract addressing the non-refundable earnest money is to, okay, what do we do with that? Is it non-refundable whether it closes or not? What does that mean? Just more specificity around the terms of the non-refundable earnest money. We probably in the last month or so had about 4 or 5 transactions where we kind of got hung up on this, and tensions were high and frustrations were high, and we just didn't have enough instruction to move forward to do what some of the parties wanted us to do in those transactions. So, any other comments about non-refundable earnest money? Okay, all right.
So, well, then how does it work then? So if it's non-refundable and it doesn't close, then what?
Well, so in one of our transactions, they said you just give it to the seller. But the buyer was disputing that for whatever reason, so we didn't have mutual instruction. So as a title company and as a settlement provider, we back up and say, okay, there's a dispute. But again, one side of the transaction said, well, clearly the contract is very clear. It's non-refundable. But there's still a dispute. So what we did is said, please give us mutual instruction. We need some type of mutual instruction. And earnest money release is always great for us. But we didn't have parties that were in agreement as to what that non-refundable earnest money really meant. So what we're looking for is just mutual instruction that's very specific. And if it is non-refundable, I always ask the question, should we go ahead and just give it to the seller now? Why are we holding it? If it's really non-refundable, should we just give it to the seller? And if the seller gives it back to the buyer upon a successful closing, they can do that. We can prepare settlement statements accordingly. But if a buyer is feeling like, oh, I don't want the seller to have it, then my question is, well, then is it really non-refundable? Does that make sense?
Yeah, would there be any more specific instruction from the beginning? So
Yeah.
you don't have to go and negotiate after, I mean, no refundable under any circumstance, or what additional wording will you have to see
Yeah,
in the
so
contract?
the questions we have is is it refundable, if it does successfully close? Is that, or let me word that a different way. If it does successfully, close, non-refundable earnest money, is it refundable back to the buyer? Does the buyer get credit for it? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. We've seen it go both ways, okay? So really specific, information as to what does that really mean? I saw a contract come over the other day, and this may or may not work, and this is not my area of expertise, but for us as a settlement agent, it did give us the instruction we needed, but in the closing instructions, and there was non-refundable earnest money, but the closing instructions said that if buyer does not successfully close for whatever reason, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the listing agent it was agreed by all parties that the listing agent could tell title company how to disperse the earnest money. Now, that may or may not work for everyone, but for us, that was at least some instruction that all parties agreed to, so we could take instruction from that agent to, do with the earnest money what we were instructed to do with it. So that may or may not work for every situation, but we're just looking for that mutual instruction. We don't know what the circumstances are in the transaction. We just need mutual instruction to do, to disperse the funds anytime. So, yes.
Is this usually initiated by the seller?
I would think so, right? Because the seller wants to keep that earnest money if the deal doesn't close, so I would think so. Yep. So kind of something we've seen more and more of, and maybe it's, everything kind of goes in spurts, but we ran across this several times in the last couple of months, and it really just caused some confusion and some angst amongst the parties. So just something I thought I'd throw out there to maybe cause further discussion to see what a best practice would be around the non-refundable earnest money. So, very good. That's all I have.
Thank you, Kelly.
You are very welcome.
Thank you, Jason. For further discussion later on in the meeting, I will clarify what we do. One, we do not write clauses unless we have a clause given from Oliver Frascone. So that's the first thing. We don't write stuff in there that says non-refundable. We never write additional provisions unless it comes strictly from the buyer or from the seller. But I'll explain to you the best way to make something non-refundable, which is using the contract and having dates and deadlines expire quickly. That makes their earnest money maybe non-refundable. Because what if the seller is in default? And by you writing this is non-refundable, there are other things that can occur that you're not addressing, and that's why we're not attorneys. But we'll talk a little bit more about that. Next up, Dave Marcus with Spire Financial. Our buddy Dave. Don't make us think.
I won't make you mad. Usually Todd doesn't know my company, so I'm very blessed today. Can everyone hear me? I usually don't use the mic. So this is a perfect transition. I stayed up all last night and last week, and I was thinking about what I was going to say for this 5 minute, and now it's totally different because we're talking about non-refundable money. And that's a great lead-in to something that we do very specifically at my company, is we will guarantee your buyer's earnest money for up to $20,000. So now if you have a non-refundable earnest money clause, and you've got a banker who's going to guarantee their money for $20,000, guess what? We have the best of both worlds. Pretty cool. I see a lot of faces that are just like, what? Yes, it's very simple what we do. It's not too unique. You have to fit into a special program. If it's a jumbo product, you're not going to be eligible for it. But if it's a Fannie Freddie Ginnie product, and we actually take your file, we underwrite it as a TBD. Our program is called PYT. It's on one of the files. It's called Protect Your Transaction. And there's actually attorney-approved verbiage that we'd be happy to pass on to you that you can put into your contract. Obviously, if Todd and Stacey approve and if Francescona approves, that will assign this earnest money to them anyway. and then I will back that with $20,000 of my bank's cash. So if you want to know more about that, we can definitely talk about that. Just call me. So one of the things I wanted to ask, and I'm not going to ask any other questions but this one, who thinks Denver is an affordable place to live? Is anybody from California or New York? No? Okay. So Denver is not affordable. We'll all agree. It's becoming more and more unaffordable. So this is something that I want you to take to your clients, and I want you to explain to them the difference between their purchase power from basically 6 months ago, or 12 months ago, or 18 months ago to today. And the media has been doing a great job of telling us that rates are so low. Generally when the media says this, it's like the guy on CNN or CNBC who talks about the stock that you should buy. Once he tells you it's already over, right? Everybody else bought it. So once the media is telling you how low rates are, the reality is they're probably not that low anymore. With that being said, there's something called the Affordability Index. NAR actually publishes this on a monthly and quarterly basis. And we are at one of the most affordable levels to buy a house since 2016. Perfect example would be $400,000 loan, literally 6 months ago, is $233 more expensive than it is today. You know what that does for your clients? How much more purchase power can they get today? Ballpark. Come on. 50 grand. Winner chicken dinner back there. 50 grand is 100% correct. So if you had somebody that was looking to buy a house 6 months ago or 8 months ago, and they were in, let's say, 400 price range, and they just could not find anything, guess what? They're now in the 450 price range. That's a significant difference. I'm working on a deal with a young lady in here right now where we're in the high threes. And just to get this person from 375 to 389 is a huge leap. And we can do that now because rates are so low. So if there's anything that you want to call your clients about, we're all salespeople. I love making phone calls, but it's a great phone call if you need something, if you're new or you're old in business, a great phone call to speak to your clients about and say, hey, listen, just following up with my database right now. I've been thinking about you guys. A lot of my clients have been taking advantage of these really low rates. Have you thought about how much equity you have? You might be getting a new listing and a new purchase. You might help them with a refinance. It's a really easy call, almost next to the birthday call. There's some people in here that know that I sing on birthdays and I have a horrible voice. But when I do call people on birthdays, they love it and they remember me. They don't necessarily use me because of my voice, but it's a great phone call. The last thing I want to leave you with is there's also another flyer on here. It's about no MI. How do I do it on time? Like 1 minute? Cool. There's no MI product. There's a lot of lenders that have it out there. There's a lot of lenders that may not use it effectively. It's just another strategy that we can help your buyers get into more house with the same amount of money. Is if we put them in that product, they're not going to have that monthly MI factor. Their monthly payment is going to be lower, so this way we could get them higher if we need to get them to another $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000. Okay. And the last thing I have before I go is, what's the most important thing in a lender when you guys are hiring a lender? It's just one or two people. Communication. Everybody does that, right? Everybody's a great communicator. What's another important thing?
Getting the closing on time.
You're right. Darn right. Getting closing on time. So, in my 16 years, I think I'm only 22. I've never missed a closing, thank God. And I think I communicate really well, or my assistant does. Brooke will tell you that right now. She doesn't speak to me anymore.
Yeah.
So, if you guys are looking for somebody to be your second, third, fourth, or sixth lender, if we're not using each other right now, mano a mano, I'd love to be your second, third, fourth, or fifth. And if you got a difficult deal, call me. I love difficult deals. Thanks again, Todd, Stacey, love you guys, and good luck everybody in Q4.
One more round of applause for our breakfast sponsors. Thank you for coming. Some excitement there. They brought some great food. Dave made a great point about interest rates because we have agents keep saying, how are we getting buyers off the fence? Again, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but interest rates. I mean, that's a huge advantage to go from $400,000 to $450,000 because the interest rates decrease. They're not going to stay down forever. They're not. So we'll talk about that again. We have Mike Fibiger in the back is our conference room sponsor right now. Mike did a course, or a class course here a couple months ago. We're going to have him do some more classes on finances. Please talk to him in the back. Get your finances in order. I personally use them. Steve Harder personally uses him. I think a couple other people in here are using him. He's a great resource. Highly encourage you guys to chat with him. He'll be here the entire meeting. And we're going to welcome our guests and new agents after our next guest. Oh, there you go. Oh. Please welcome. We have, and I think a lot of you guys came, or some of you came, to find out about what's going on with the lawsuit. And if you're looking at me going, I don't know what you're talking about, lawsuit, well, then you're in for a treat to find out what's happening in the big world of NAR and MLSs. But we are pleased to have Justin Knoll, who is our Colorado Association of Realtors president currently. And Justin, tell us what you know. Give him a round of applause for being here.
This is my lead in. I gotta talk about a lawsuit. Alright, everybody having a good week? This is the best week of the year, in my opinion. Best week of the year. Kids are in school, baby. Kids are in school. I got married a year ago. I'm a stepdad now. I have 16 and 13-year-old daughters. We went from 0 to that. So this lawsuit discussion is easy. This is easy. So then my wife is in Chicago for the NAR leadership meetings going on right now. She left Tuesday, and I have the girls to myself. So any suggestions you have, just leave me notes on what I can do to survive until Friday, because this is scaring the hell out of me. So I'm Justin Knoll, car chair. I'm with Madison and Company. I ran Madison and Company for about 4 or 5 years. I stepped back recently for a couple of reasons. Number one is I was tired. I've done this 19 years, and I was tired. Number two, the bigger reason is I want to gain a different perspective on things. And there's so much disruption going on. Are we tired of this word yet? It's like millennials. Stop using these words. But the disruption thing, there's so much change going on. And my niche in this market has always been coaching agents and kind of counseling where to go next and what to see when you're not seeing it, creating business owners. And that, I think, is the biggest need that we have right now in our industry. And so I pivoted, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'll probably be sacking groceries in a year, but that's okay. But I think the niche market is something we really need to focus on. And so I'll share with you a little bit about what I see, what things are happening coming up, and where the industry is going as a whole. But let's start with this NAR lawsuit, shall we? Does this scare you guys a little bit? Scared so much you can't even speak right now. It's scary. Guys, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. So here's what happened. In the North District, Illinois, a lawsuit was filed by a plaintiff. The plaintiff bought a house years ago, and actually in this decade, I think it was 2011 to 14, somewhere in there, right? So files this lawsuit against NAR and 5 other entities. You've got NRT, you've got Keller Williams, Remax, all these big companies, right? And the lawsuit states that there's unfair practices and basically collusion and, well, that's a bad word right now, all this stuff going on, right? There's all this chaos, there's all these people that are doing some unfair practices in business. That's the lawsuit statement. So that lawsuit was filed. NAR is a plaintiff or a defendant in that as well. And so NAR, I will promise you, NAR has a war chest of funds to do things like this, right? Their advocacy program is gigantic. It's the largest lobbying institution in the nation. That's what we do best. But along those lines, there won't be a shortage of legal talent focused on this lawsuit. I promise you that. And so NAR has taken that on, and they've hired some antitrust legal teams. And so this is an antitrust lawsuit. Anybody stay home during the day? We're all independent contractors. Don't lie. We're all at home pretending we're pulling MLS stats, and really soap operas are on in the background. That's the reality. And during those soap operas, you see commercials. And there's one in particular that nobody knew what this was until they watched daytime TV, and that is Mesothelioma. You guys heard of this? Right? We would have never heard of this had it not been a class action lawsuit. So the strategy on the plaintiff side is to gain as much PR and get as much class action activity going as they can to start collecting new plaintiffs to come along for the ride. Have you been wronged by the realtors in the last 5 years? Then call us today, right? That's basically the intent of what's happening. So that first lawsuit that was signed and delivered and everything is rolling, they were found that there were some errors in that. And so they are now amending that lawsuit, and there's also 2 others that have added on to the lawsuit. So we're in this legal jockeying position now for probably the next year or 2. That's really all that's going to happen. There's going to be some stuff going on in August, a little bit in September. There's some specific dates that are coming up, but nothing's going to happen very soon. I will tell you that this lawsuit will, under zero circumstance, be settled. This is going to be seen until the end. And if you know about these lawsuits, like the Roundup one that just happened, they drag on for years. So we really are banking on 6 to 10 years of this legal battle on this front with no settlement. And that's where we are. Now, let's fast forward to where we think this could potentially go. Fast forward 6 to 10 years from now, hopefully you guys are still in the business. Hopefully there still is business. Right, so here we are 10 years from now. What does this potentially look like? So I think there could be some things in the MLS, how we run our MLS and how we offer compensation. That really is the basis of this. There was unfair practices in that we were saying this is the fixed commission that a seller must pay to a buyer's agent in essence, right? And so they're trying to peel that back. And that may reduce commissions, it may keep the same. We don't know what the outcome is going to be, but that is really, think of it that way, right? And so that's where we are. So this thing's going to drag on. But if I'm you guys, I'm head down, focused on a couple of things. Number one is find as much niche as you can in your marketplace. Find where you're great. That stuff will survive the test of time. Lawsuits or no lawsuits, that will survive. We were just in New York, I was telling Kelly, we went on vacation, went to New York. It was pretty fun, my birthday. Rockies were playing the Yankees in Yankee Stadium on my birthday. Sounded good when we booked it. Sounded amazing. Little did I know my favorite team would be a AAA minor league team getting their butts kicked to New York. The bigger thing was a 106-degree heat index. It was nasty in the subway, which I never get on, stalled for an hour, and we're sitting there all passing out. And I thought, wow, this is New York. Yay! But we ended up staying at Four Seasons. We had a couple nights there and free from things we'd done in the past. And so we stayed at Four Seasons, which was fantastic, right? High-level service. We went to 11 Madison, which is consistently ranked one of the top restaurants in the world. And I got back on the plane coming home, and the thing that reminded me of what we're doing, I have a team, I've had a team for about 17 years. Our focus is always to get to that next level of service. And that trip reminded me of what people are willing to pay for and what they're excited to pay for and what they find value in. And I am fully convinced that full service, high level service, when I was a selling agent, I think I was like a Target service, like right here. I was striving to get to Macy's. And I got to Macy's, I'm like, all right, what's next? It was kind of that Nordstrom feel. And our quest is always to keep going higher and higher. Here's why I think it's relevant. I do a lot of studies on generational sales and who's in the marketplace. And what we're finding is people younger than us, younger than I'm 43, so Generation Z and Y, they're learning in packs, right? I remember in high school, you're head down, you're studying. If I dare turn my head at the neighbor's paper, like that was enough, right? That's off limits. Now they learn in packs. Anyone have kids? They learn in packs. They learn in squads. Like this is their thing. Well, it doesn't just happen in their learning life, it happens in their purchasing life. So, I'll ask you this. Gone to an inspection with a baby boomer or Gen X like me. Who's there? It's you, it's the inspector, and it's the client. Right? That's it. Pretty predictable. Alright, who's had an inspection with Gen Z or Gen Y? Right? It's the cousin, the aunts, the uncles, the friends, person they met at Starbucks earlier. Like they just want buy-in. That's all they want is validation in what they're doing. And so I think the high level of service is something that will validate what they're doing and the decision they're making. That's a big piece of this. I also think teams and partnerships are going to be a big piece going forward. I'm not saying run out and start one or do one, but I think that's the way that the consumers are starting to consume, is they want specialty in different areas, they want partnerships, they don't want just you anymore, they want your buyer specialist, they want your transaction coordinator specialist. That's what they expect, because that's how they're learning and is translating over to consumption. So those are things that I think will pull us through, a lawsuit or not. This thing's going to play out for quite some time. So we've got to be patient. CAR is sending out all kinds of communication on it as we get it. There's just really not a lot to report. We're kind of in that jockeying position of learning what's what. Now, NAR's contention is that this is a bogus lawsuit. All of this stuff is frivolous. These have been practices that have been in place and approved by the government for years and years and years. Right? That was the precedent set before. If that precedent is broken, it's a whole nother ballgame. And that's where we're a little bit, okay, what's going to happen? You're not going to be out of business, guys. That's the reality. It may shift how we get paid. It may shift what we get paid. It may shift some of the compensation and how we put things in MLS, but you're still going to be relevant because people need us. This transaction is too complicated and too cumbersome to try it without us. And these kids, I say kids, these kids are willing to trade in their dollars for time, more than any generation in history. The ability for them to just know that things are getting taken care of so they can go mountain bike or canoe or travel is paramount to them. So stay relevant, stay focused on high level service, add anything that you can into your bag of tricks that really connects with that client. It's going to be needed. So that's kind of my thing. No more disruption, it's a distraction. Let's go to work. All of this disruption has been 100% driven by the consumer. During the 80s and 90s, brokerages were all about brokerages. How can we get rich? The 90s and into the 2000s, it switched, thankfully, to the realtors themselves. The agents, the hustlers, right? Getting deals done. It became more centric about you. What tools can we offer? What splits can we make better? What technology is out there, right? That's the job of the brokerage, just to give everything to the broker. Now what's happened in the 2000s and in the last few years, 100% focused on the client, finally. They had a voice and people started listening. Now they didn't necessarily say, I want a Compass brand or a Redfin brand or any of those brands, which are all great. They're doing magnificent business. They didn't say they wanted that. They just said they wanted more at the center of the transaction and more transparency throughout it. That's all they've said. So you don't have to change companies. You don't have to try something new. Just get back into that mode of giving them what they want, because that's where the industry is. It's all consumer centric. So be at the leading edge of that. That's the best advice I can give you guys. We're seeing it across the board. So does that help on the, I wish I could give you all kinds of statutes and legal jargon about the lawsuit. There just really isn't much detail yet to come. It's going to be coming more. Was there any questions about it? Anything that's lingering? Anything I can, go find out and investigate and bring back to you guys? Or does this kind of help a little bit? Don't panic. Don't panic. I think that's the biggest thing. Don't panic. At CAR, we're working on a couple of things. Number one is really communication back to our membership. We're 26,500 members. That puts us at the 13th largest state association in the nation, which is pretty powerful. We swing a big stick, guys. People pay attention to what Colorado is doing legislatively. They pay attention to what we do contractually. They're paying attention to what we're doing in the operations side of our organization. And that's pretty exciting. Legislatively, that's our number one focus. You guys probably with Todd being the Smedra chair last year and doing all his work, RPAC is a big piece of that. And I'm not here lobbying for you to break out your wallets and all that stuff. That's a later date. RPAC is our lobbying arm here locally. And I will tell you, before I was really involved about a decade ago, I thought, well, these things just iron themselves out, right? Legislators just figure it out, and we'll be good, and whatever happens, happens. That's not how it works. Sadly, it's just not how it works. Things like construction defect laws that we battled for years really held back affordability because there were no new places to buy that were attached to single family. They were just not affordable. Everybody's putting up luxury stuff, and we're missing this segment of the market that is so powerful and needed right now. And so when construction defects laws loosened up, we're starting to see more inventory in that. Hopefully that brings back affordability, which is the absolute biggest threat to our business. So legislatively, a lot going on. I was at a bill signing this summer, spring, late spring. One of the governor's first bills that he signed into office. And so we went down there for the deed bill, where they could sign, basically realtors, you give the title company access to get things done for you that they couldn't do before. It's really the best way to put it. And all the title companies lobbied for this, the association, Realtor Association, your Realtor Association lobbied for this. We got it done. It's awesome. It will make your job better. So we go down for the bill signing, and I'm going down, I'm suited up, looking good. Although I didn't wear, I got out of my car and I go, who wears pattern shirt with a pattern jacket? Slight miscalculation today, my apologies. I'm suited up, I spent $30 on parking, I'm going into the Capitol, here we go, we're gonna sign this bill. He calls us in after waiting in the vestibule for a half hour. And he says, just get behind the desk here. He looks up at his assistant and says, which bill is this? Okay, here we go, it's the deed bill. Okay, everybody stand there. 1, 2, 3, snap, snap, he signs it, and we're going. Out the door we go. I'm like, what just happened here? All that work that put in years and months of hard work was signed in 30 seconds. The worst $30 parking I've ever spent. But it was really cool to see how quickly it works. There was no celebration, there was none of that. It was, let's go to work. And that's really what we're trying to do, is just get things done and go to work for you. So legislatively, a lot going on. If you have any passion on this kind of stuff, any political passions right now beyond the presidential race, which is mind-numbing, if you have any excitement for that, let me know. There are places you can get in on a local level or a state level that are so incredible. The opportunities are pretty amazing. So that's legislatively. I won't bore you with that. Another thing that we're working on is our foundation. So we have a CAR foundation. And it really is an arm of the association that is the philanthropic side, focused on housing. And so over the last, through the life of its foundation existence, we've raised just over $7.8 million to be given to housing funds. It can be affordability, it's spread across the state. This is not a Denver thing, it's across the state. So we're really excited about that. We're trying to cross over the $8 million mark. And so we had an event a few weeks ago out at the airport at Centennial, which was fantastic. But that money, a chunk of that money comes from the earnest money interest gained, right? So we put earnest money into banks all the time, sits there for 30, 40, 60, 90 days sometimes. It's gaining interest. As small as that interest may be, many of the title companies have given permission for that interest to go to the foundation, which is pretty cool. So I want you to know that these are things you can share with your clients when you talk about the value of being a realtor. Just something small like that is we're committed to $8 million of funds just from transaction interest going back to housing on a local level and state level. It's pretty powerful. So things like that are going on. We've got our wildfire group, which is fantastic. My job really this year was to create more linkage between everybody and more communication. So we met with all the shareholders across the board that had anything to do with wildfire. Firefighter Association, the Forest Service, National Forest Service, everybody was at our meeting in our office. And the one thing that they said was, it's great to do all this mitigation. We love that people are cleaning up their yards and their lots and keeping foliage away from their house and all the things that we know we need to do for wildfires. They said the number one need they have comes from us, and that is to inform your clients when they buy a property anywhere that's in a potential wildfire zone, which covers about 3/4 of our residents in our state. They live within a wildfire area, believe it or not, is to make sure that they sign up for the emergency alerts. That's the number one threat that they saw right now, was that a lot of people aren't getting the phone calls in, right? Saying, get out, there's a fire. People are getting stuck. And a lot of these places are only 1 or 2 exits out. And that's a dangerous, dangerous game. It puts more lives at risk. So, if you have any clients that live by big trees, anything, call. This is a great idea to just call your sphere, call your past clients, just say, hey, I just want to make sure, my public service announcement for the day, I want to make sure you're taken care of. Have you signed up for the alert system? If not, they can just Google it in their county. It's very easy. But that was the number one thing we heard from those shareholders. which I thought was pretty powerful. Gosh, what else is going on? I don't know. You guys are probably tired of me talking already. Let's see, we got the lawsuit. We've got, we did a study. The Colorado Association of Realtors did a study, a 50-state study on affordable housing. And so we took data, information, anything we could get from every state in the union about their affordable housing efforts. And we compiled all those into a report, and now we're putting that into action. There's a couple of bills that are on the table right now that we're using this data for with legislators, and we're having a really positive impact. So that is something I want you guys to know we're working on this kind of stuff. I could go on for hours, but I'm trying to get the high points for you. Okay, housing research. Are you guys do you go on the CAR website and get housing statistics ever?
Yes.
It's amazing. These stats are incredible, right? You can get them from Symmetry, you can get them from DMAR, your local association, whatever. But I will tell you, my sphere of influence, my database, I'm 4th generation realtor. That's sad. I can't get out of this thing. This is all I know. But my database is spread out, right? It's been years of doing this. It's a little spread out. So I don't just focus on the metro area market. I'll always pull stats from other markets where I have friends, family, anybody else living in, and I'll just share that with them. Call them with 2 or 3 things that are happening in that market. The stats are incredible. Use that stuff. Guys, when people are telling us, the clients are telling us, public perception is they want more at the center of the transaction, this is what they're talking about. Give me the stats, but then also, if you're really earning your money, turn it into what this means to you is. That's the 6 magic words of sales. What this means to you is. So have the ability to take those stats and tell a story with them and what it means is so incredibly powerful. So you have all those things at your fingertips. Don't lose those. Last but certainly not least is our Refresh Conference. So we are doing our Refresh Conference this year, September 5th, down at the Convention Center. It's a one-day event. Amazing speakers. We're not going to have the rah-rah cheerleader type speakers this year as much. We're going to have the nuts and bolts, the people that are grinding it out, giving you really good tips on what to do in the market, how you can really put your business on fast track to the right place. So really good stuff. So September 5th, I'm asking, guys, I'm begging you, sign up and go. Bring somebody with you. This thing's going to be so much fun. It's one day of your life. Let's be honest, you've got other things you could be doing, but this is really where you want to spend your time. Okay? Don't sit at home waiting for Mesothelioma commercials. But this is a great place. You can just get on, just Google Refresh Conference Denver. I'm so bad at websites and technology, I won't even pretend. Just Google it for all adults at this point. Check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun, really good information. So September 5th, can I count on you guys? Please. Just pretend you're going to go. So that's where we are on CAR. I could ramble for hours. I won't do that. I just want to say I used to manage a Coldwell Banker office years and years ago. And I was a kid. I was like 28. I had no idea what I was doing. And there was always this cutest little couple that were kind of checking each other out and kind of getting to know each other a little bit. And Todd and Stacey. Look what you've done. This is amazing. You are a powerhouse company in one of the best markets in all of the world. And it started by you two just getting to know each other at that office. And I will never forget it. And I hold a special spot in my heart for you guys. Congratulations on what you're doing. Please go to work. Up your level of service because they need you to do this. This is how we survive. This is how we put all the lawsuit stuff and all this disruption to the side and say, we're doing what we're doing. But you guys have the biggest cheerleaders and brains in the business behind you. So just go make it happen. So any questions for me? Man, I nailed it. Thank you guys.
Oh, the days of Coldwell Banker. One more round of applause. Justin came here. His sales meeting is going on, and he came to ours instead to help us out. So really appreciate it. I just asked him to come, speak about NAR, speak about anything he wanted to. and you keep hearing it from us. Keep your head down. Bring up your level of service and value. Don't worry about the disruptors, and I agree with you, I hate the word disrupt. These are just companies, they're just businesses, they're just stuff. There's always stuff. And don't get so caught up in stuff. We're gonna talk about iBuyers a little bit later. We're gonna talk about it for like this much, because that's about how much time you need us to talk about iBuyers. That's about how scared I am of someone being an investor. We'll talk about that. Keep your head down, do your business, bring value, and do what we do. I do think things are going to change on how we do commissions. I think for too long we have said to our buyers, don't worry, the seller pays the commission. We shouldn't be saying that, because we do have a buyer agency and we should be putting in what we want to be paid in the event that we're not paid by the seller, the amount that we want to be paid. There are lots of companies that aren't paying you what you should be paid. That discussion of they pay me should not be there anymore, and I think it will go away. I think it will go away, and there'll be a listing fee and a buyer fee, and one fee will be on a listing contract and one fee will be on a buyer contract. That's how it should be. That's how, in the end, it's all going to come out of the same closing and happen the same way it does now, but the discussion with your buyers will be different, which means you need to raise your level of service, because you can't just say, you're not paying me. You want to say, you're going to pay me, and this is why you're paying me, and this is what I'm going to do for you. Start learning that now, because down the road, I think that's how it's going to be. Anyway, thank you to all of our sponsors. Let's get on with, let's go back here a little bit. Do we have any new agents that have not gotten their little e-pin, that have not been to a sales meeting yet? Anyone? New agent? Please come up here and introduce yourself quickly. Just say hello, say your name, get your pin. Anyone else hiding? Please come on up.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Move. You got things to do. Keep it going. Introduce yourself. Glad you're here.
Good morning, my name is Eric Socket. Thanks for having me.
Jennifer Williams, and I started a few months ago. I just haven't been around much.
That's okay. We're glad you're here. Welcome. Yeah, there's a couple faces in here. I'm like, where have you been for a while? So it's okay. Again, the sales meeting. Glad you guys made it. Anyone else doesn't have an e-pin? Okay, excellent. Moving on here. Oh, wrong direction. We're skipping master. We got things to get into here. Justin. Adapting to a changing market. Stacey, why are you walking into the back? I guess we'll start real quickly. So we have Eric Sachs' YouTube video on our channel. Who has seen the iBuyer? Really? Eric Sachs was here at a sales meeting, did a great presentation on iBuyers. Who saw that? Okay. Those of you that didn't have your hand up, you can watch it on our YouTube channel. Who here doesn't know that we have a YouTube channel? That's pretty good. Okay, so we do have a YouTube channel, and Paul and Parker have worked really hard recently. If you haven't seen it, it's all cleaned up, it's organized, it's got nicely covered. We've broken some things down so that they're not really long. But the iBuyer seminar done by Eric Sachs is awesome. All I want to say about iBuyers is an iBuyer is an investor. Would you not agree?
I agree.
This is someone who, well, investor, a person or organization that puts money into financial schemes, property, etc., with the expectation of achieving a profit. This is right off Wikipedia. Achieving a profit. What's that mean if someone's buying a property and they want to achieve a profit? They want a discount. There's all kinds of ways to build that discount in, correct? I saw one of our agents post something about iBuyers and the fees they charge, the commissions they charge. Some are 7%, 8%, 10%. They have extra fees. But then they also want to buy your property at a discount, right? Because are these homeowners that are going to live in the home? No. They're just regular investors. Have we not always had investors buying properties before? We've always had that. These happen to be really big companies now that some of them have done a really good job of working with the consumer and gaining trust. Should you trust Zillow to go buy your home and give you the highest dollar? Should you trust any investor to give you the highest dollar? No. Is that what someone always wants, the highest dollar? No. It's not always. When you meet with your client, your seller, you need to find out what their motivation is. How quickly, how smoothly do they want the most money? There are several things that a seller wants, and it's not always the most money. That's why we've always had investors. I'll come, look at your house, it's a disaster, you don't have to clean it up, you don't have to paint it, you don't have to carpet, that realtor's gonna try and get you the most money and make it hard. And they're like, oh, great, I just wanted to take my money and go. It's not really my house, I got it gifted to me, I could care less. There's always been scenarios where an investor buying a property is a good deal. Maybe not the most money, but it's a good deal for that person. iBuyer pros, quick close, cash buyer, no showings. There might be a few other things. Anything else you can think of why an investor / iBuyer would be a good deal for a seller?
No fix-up expenses, they don't have to fix anything.
No fix-up, because they're not trying to maximize the dollar. The seller isn't.
They can stay there.
They can stay there. Yeah? Okay, so these are just normal investor issues, or iBuyer. The iBuyer just makes it sound like it's something different other than investor. Cons. Now this is why you need a realtor. Or, I mean, these are the negatives of the iBuyer. High commission fees, and we have seen them all the way up to 10%. Anyone seen higher than 10%? Okay. Added user fees, they might like add little things in there. I mean, we've seen inspection reports come back. We'll buy your house for X, and here's the 10. Oh, it all sounds great, but they still do a little inspection sometimes. There's multiple iBuyers out there, and then they come with a laundry list, just like a buyer would. Discounted offers. That's the biggest thing. They are not going to give you market value, highest market value. What does an investor have to do with this property? Altogether, they have to sell it though. They have to put it back on the market. I mean, you don't buy it and then just hang on to it. They're not renting these out. They're flipping them. My bottom line, look at an iBuyer like a classic home flipper. They're into it to make a profit. So your seller could be leaving money on the table. These are things you talk to your potential listing with. Pros and cons. What I want to do is say, don't ever use an iBuyer. Don't look at an investor. They're bad people. You know, when you talk down about a competitor and an investor's a competitor, it doesn't make you look good. What you say is, yeah, here are the benefits, here are the cons. If you're looking for the most money, you want a smooth transaction, you want someone advocating for you. Is the iBuyer advocating for them? Or who's doing the transaction? Who's setting this all up? Who's watching out for them? They're like a FSBO, correct? I'm just selling to someone over here and no one's looking out for me. So these are the points that you want to be making. You don't want to be freaking out about iBuyers out there and them taking over our industry and all the listings are going to be gone. That's not going to happen. It's a distraction, like Justin said. But it's not a bad thing. These just happen to be really large investors. Any questions on iBuyers? Watch the whole seminar that Eric Sachs does. He'll take my 5 minutes and put it into 45 minutes. But this is all you need to know. An iBuyer is an investor. Simple. Questions on that? Skip.
Yeah, just a comment. We previewed a house about 2 weeks ago that was a Zillow home. And they bought it like July 8th for $608. And about 10 days later it was on the market for $625. my Zillow.
I figured that out.
Yeah.
Oh, they have a fee here that doesn't show in the
Doesn't
sales
show in the
price.
purchase price in the records. So there's some fees that aren't showing up.
They're always
Because of
high.
seller's proceeds, but it doesn't show, well, that 10% doesn't show
Right.
in the purchase price.
Yeah, so I mean, so it's going on the market, obviously at a higher price than they bought it for. And we don't even know all the costs that they were charged to that person, so you don't know that gap.
You don't
So
basically use it,
Right.
but Zillow.
And investors are investing when? During really good times. I mean, when things kind of mellow out a little bit, you kind of hedge your bets and maybe you're not buying properties if they're not selling as quick. Are we seeing the market slow down much? Are you guys seeing the market slow down?
Yes.
Stacy's gonna talk about this, because we're hearing, oh my gosh, the market, it's really slowed down. Wait till you see the numbers. No, it really isn't. It's not a buyer's market, it's still a seller's market.
What it all boils down to is perception. If you guys read into this, oh my god, iBuyers, instead of the perception, they're saying the same thing that we can say, only we can provide more services for them for less money.
Exactly. And it depends on what, again, there are pros and cons. It depends on what the seller wants. If they just want to get the heck out of here and someone's gonna write me a check and that's not the most money I can get, but I'm done, moving to North Carolina, this was gifted to me from my grandparents and I don't care, that's a great deal. They wanna maximize their dollar and they want a smooth, easy transaction and be represented, that's what we do. Stacy, dramatic shifts in the market.
It feels like it's been dramatic, but it actually hasn't. So just so I know the audience here, let's do a show of hands if you currently have a listing on the market right now. Active listing. Okay, good. Hands if your listing has been on the market for more than a week. Okay, about half the people. What if your listing's been on the market for more than 2 weeks? 3 weeks? 4 weeks? 5 weeks? Okay.
Plan.
That doesn't count. All right, for the most part, I'd say 90% of the room, your listing has sold in less than 5 weeks. You're in the average norm category for days on market. Todd, can you put up the statistics that I'm going to share with everyone? So let's first talk about statistics, just to kind of maybe put you guys at ease as far as, oh my gosh, we're coming into a recession. Things aren't selling. It really hasn't changed that much. So what you're feeling is June sales were down just a touch. July ticked right back up where it was supposed to. And we typically go from the high spring selling season, which is the desirable time to sell in Colorado, to summer when we're all laying by the pool, we're taking our kids to Water World, we're going on vacations, we're going hiking, we're going mountain biking. So us as agents, we take some time off, and so do our clients. We won't see as many people putting their homes on the market. We don't see as many buyers in the marketplace because a lot of us live in Colorado for the lifestyle. And so we're out playing when the weather's nice. So we're going to take a look at July 2018 against July 2019. Sales were up 4%. Good news. Average sold price from July 2018 to July 2019. Average price up 4%. So our sales are up, our prices are up. Our new listings were up just a little bit, 3% increase for new listings, month over July last year to July this year. And our under contracts, this is what I really like to see. We were up 9%. That means you guys put a lot of houses under contract in July, which means you're gonna reap the rewards of closings in August. So days on market, I know a lot of you were starting to feel, okay, my listing's not selling in the first weekend. I'm actually having to market the property. I'm having to do open houses. It's not selling in the second weekend. Our days on market only went up 3 from last year, this time. We're at 32 days on the market. You're getting offers in a month. That's a really good market. That's a buyer's market.
Anyone here say, oh my God, my house isn't selling, and you call us or you talk to us and like a week later, it's sold? Anyone?
I won't point you out.
Point yourselves. You guys felt something, but It wasn't real, was it? It sold. Yes, yes. I see heads shaking. We had the phone calls. Don't freak out. Don't panic. And you didn't freak out, and you didn't panic, and it sold. So we're in a really good market still.
Stacey, is this the Metro Denver area? Is that what?
Yes, so these are RE Colorado statistics, and they include, I'm wanting to say 7 counties, 8 counties. So it's Denver Metro, it's Adams, Arapahoe, Boulder, Broomfield, Clear Creek, Douglas, Elbert, Gilpin, Jefferson, and Park County. So a real big, broad perspective. When you look at some of the days on market just in the Denver area specifically, not Denver County, you're still seeing days on market around 18. You guys are still getting quick offers. So what we are seeing though is you guys were selling things so quickly, you're literally putting the sign in the yard and you're getting 3 offers, most of them over list price. So when it's taking you a week or 10 days and you've had a lot of showings, your feedback's been really good, you can't figure out what's going on, you're telling your seller, we need to price reduce now. And so you're doing these price reductions a little preemptively, maybe a little sooner than you're supposed to, or need to. Because there's still plenty of buyers out there. They're just not rushing out the day that the house is hitting the market. So we saw a lot of price reductions happen over the summer. And oftentimes we were seeing 2, 3, and 4 price reductions within a matter of 3 weeks. Because you guys were getting real aggressive with your sellers. Hey, it's not selling, the market's telling me something, we need to adapt. But you were a little quick to make those changes. And so, although you guys were strategizing and giving your sellers very good advice, we were seeing that those price reductions were occurring. And it triggered the buyers to say, I don't need to rush out and see this house because if it sits on the market for 4 or 5 days, they're taking the price down and I'm getting it for less. So that's kind of the psychology that went on with the buyers. Weeks of inventory down here, we're only at 7 weeks of inventory. So again, seller's market, you're not into a balanced market until you're at 5 months of inventory. We're seeing inventory levels a little bit higher in the $1 million price range, which is pretty typical. Those are kind of in more the 4-month range. Still seller's market, but leaning towards balanced market. Anything you wanted to add on statistics? Numbers are looking really good. Yes, numbers are looking really good. So nothing has changed other than sales have gone up, prices have gone up since last year. The next thing we wanted to talk about is it's more important now than ever to actually have a marketing plan. It's not just good enough to put it in the MLS because we are starting to see things transition just a touch. Do you want to talk a little bit about value and separating yourself from the competition? The reason why we want to arm you guys with this now is, one, because we're getting quite a few phone calls. Hey, my listing hasn't sold in a week. What do I do? What do I do? I haven't had a property that I've had to market. I don't know what I need to be doing. And so we want to arm you with what you can start doing now so that you're ready as things do adjust and as things go to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 90 days of sitting on the market.
So, we've had some great speakers here today, so we're running short on time. I'm going to be quick. You're going to need to take notes. You're going to have to think here real fast and stay up with me. I want to show you something that I started when I was selling, and this is back in the 90s. When I was by myself, selling 40 plus homes a year and didn't have an assistant. And I needed to communicate well with my clients. And most of you know that I love listing presentations. I love showing my value. I love putting together what's my marketing plan. I like being able to go to that presentation and show that this is what I'm going to do for someone. That's not just important to show someone what you do, it's actually important to do it. And then show them that you're doing it. And I think a lot of agents have a problem showing people that they're doing the things that they've told them that they're going to do. Well, I started using back in the 80s, was Top Producer. Top Producer is still out there. It's a very big program. It's a little overbuilt, but this is what was available back then. I'm sure there's plenty of other programs that would work, but it allowed you to put together a service report. And I could template this report as to what I was going to do for someone. So if I'm at a presentation, I'm just going to make this up off my head, but I'm going to say to the person, I'm going to make you flyers. I'm gonna put your house in the MLS. I'm gonna have professional photography. I'm gonna send out 200 just listed postcards to my sphere of influence who know people in the area. I'm gonna send out flyers to the neighborhood because people who live in the neighborhood sometimes know people who want to live in their neighborhood. They talk about it. I'm going to do a reverse prospect match. Who knows what a reverse prospect match is? In the MLS. If you don't know what it is, you need to be using this. I'm going to put it in internet sites. I'm going to put it in Realtor.com. I'm going to showcase it on Realtor.com. I'm going to put it in the Real Estate Magazine. What are you doing? These are all the things that I was doing, and many more. But you don't just tell someone what you do, you show them that you're doing it. And the main reason I came up with this idea, I'll digress, is I had a husband and wife that were getting divorced. When that usually happens, someone usually chooses you, right? They didn't both choose you because they just don't want to. They're not agreeing on anything. But someone chose you and the other person, they had their favorite, but they didn't win. So I got this listing, and I already had the template, I had everything built up. It was on the market for like 60 days or something, and they called up my broker and said, she called my broker and said, he's not selling it, he's not doing anything, I don't want to use him. They were just fighting. And my broker came to me and said, Todd, what are you doing? I was able to pull this type of a report and show step by step everything I did for these people. My broker said, you're doing your job. 2 weeks later, the house sold. But by having this report, one, it backed me up with my broker, and two, it backed me up with my clients, showing them, look, this is what I'm doing for you, and here's how I'm communicating with you guys. So this marketing service report, I literally, and this is a real one that Stacey did, this is like 2011. We're like, we're not selling anymore. We're not doing these anymore. I would highly recommend you do something like this. But every little thing we did, listing agreement, email a copy of you, email a copy of the listing agreement to you. How many people here actually sent a copy of the listing, the MLS, what it looks like in the MLS, to their clients? Awesome. Those of you who don't, you need to. We want them to look at it in case we made a mistake. This is where we wrote, there's 220 electrical in the garage and there isn't. Or there's air conditioning and there isn't. Send them a copy of the MLS so they can see it. Send them a copy of the pictures. Send them disclosure forms. I put up the for sale sign. We put up the lockbox. We put in the MLS. We had the digital photos. Showing desk. We submitted it to the showing desk. It's in Ari, Colorado. Send them a link of what it looks like in Ari, Colorado. We made you color brochures. We had a showing. Now we write down what the showing was and what they liked or disliked about the property. We put it in Trulia. Is Trulia still out there?
It's not mine.
Okay. We put it in Trulia. Here's a link. So every single, when we used to say we would put this in, 75 different websites, we would send them a link to every one of those websites so they could see it and they could click on it. There's your Zillow listing report. Internet websites, all the sites we have, ListHub, Yahoo Real Estate, Google, AOL Real Estate, Schuster Properties, our website. Staging items. We would stage our properties. We would actually ourselves go in and help them get the house looking right. Updated photography, buyer acquire information. That's our 1-800 call capture. Let them hear what it sounds like. Go in and customize it. Don't just let it connect with the MLS. This is free for you guys. You already have it. It's on your sign, the phone number. You can go in and say, hi, this is Todd Schuster. Thanks for calling at my house at 123 Elm Street. This is or if you're not doing anything with it right now, it just says 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and you get the little call capture. Go in and customize it. Because your seller's the first person who calls that 1-800 number to hear what it sounds like. So if your greeting's there, that's even better. Realtor.com. Listing promotion. Promoted your home at Equity Colorado sales meeting. Literally. Pages. Pages and pages. That's 1 month. And how many pages? Does it say the page? No, it didn't say the page. don't know, what, 12 pages probably of information of what we do for our clients. We took it up a notch. We used to email this out to them. On Top Producer, we gave them a login. Everybody had their own customized login, and they could log in every day if they wanted to and see what's going on. And we would update the showings every day. So as we're getting feedback, don't call me, just log in and you can look at your showings. What's your plan? As Justin said, work a niche, have a plan, know what your marketing is, and then communicate it. Any questions on that? Would that be cool if you were doing that? Do you think you could get more listings if you were doing something like that? Do you think you could show more value than maybe what you're doing right now if you did something like that and communicate, if you're not doing that already? Yes? No? Yeah? If you need help doing this, this is what we're here for. I'm happy to talk to you about what we have done and what we do. We have classes here and there, but you know, sometimes it's hard to actually grab something and implement it. Pick up the phone and say, what did you do? How's that work? We're happy to share. Anything you want to add to that?
And you don't have to be this fancy and put it in this cool report.
Oh, yeah,
with colors. We ended up not having Top Producer. We ended up canceling it. And so I started just emailing the report. And when you are emailing like the lines of what we had done, so yeah, if you can pull that email up, and it's literally like this huge email that just outlines every single item. So you don't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to have pictures. It doesn't have to have colors. It can literally be typed out in an email. This was the showing feedback. Put the listing sign up. Did this. Did that. In the body of an email. So keep it easy. Keep it easy.
Yeah, I like making systems. I like creating things. It's fun. I mean, maybe going from sending it out in an email to putting it on the platform to having people log into it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It's what I do. Anything else? Not on that subject.
We don't have a ton of time,
Yeah.
so I think we're gonna save the getting the buyers off the fence until next time. I also have a really cool chart that I wanted to show you, but we'll do it next month. And it talks about pricing your homes as you're coming into the fall because you're using the spring comparables. And this chart shows you that spring prices are up 4% in March, April, and May, and prices are down 2% in September, down 1% in October. So as you're pulling your comparables from 6 months ago at the height of the market, how you adjust for being in a lower selling demand in the lower market. So I'll show that chart. I'll post it on Facebook so you can take a look at it. It breaks everything down into colors so you can see when's the best time to sell for a seller, when's the best time to buy for a buyer. And we won't show that today, but I'll post it on Facebook and we'll do it next meeting. What I really want to do is wrap this up with managing your emotions, because as you start to feel things a little differently in the market, you get scared. And then you lose focus and you listen to the news and you hear about the NAR lawsuits and what's this person doing, what's that person doing, they're saying we're going to have a recession, and you don't stay focused. You drift, you spend a lot of negative energy worrying instead of just staying connected with what you do as a business person, running your business, as Justin said, finding your niche and being extremely good at it. Don't dabble in a bunch of things, but just find what you do well and do it great. Building those relationships with your clients, there are always going to be people that need to buy and sell. You need to be interconnected in those webs, in those networks, so that you're that resource when someone says, I'm downsizing, I'm getting a divorce, I'm moving out of state. Doesn't matter whether we're in a great market or whether we're in a down market. They need you. And so just stay focused. Keep your blinders on and don't worry about all the external noise. Anything else you want to say?
Nope, that's awesome.
No. All right.
Any
Questions? And study your statistics.
Know your statistics.
Go to the refresh conference. Take your classes, because the way you get better is submerging yourself into this information. And as you have to adapt to investor markets, to buyers markets, to sellers markets, you'll have the skills to do it. All right, Power Professionals.
Power Pros. Yes, if you have new listings, put those on Facebook today, because I want to make sure that our award winners are recognized for June and July. And then we have a luncheon today for you Power Pros. Hopefully you got your invitation.
Wow, we've got a lot. Good months. Paul, help me organize this. What do we got going on here? Oh, okay, I can't do everything. I'm gonna have to get on this. So that's okay. So, if your name is called, please come to the front, get your picture taken, and stay up here so we can do like a round of applause. And you're probably all be standing up here when we're done with this, but we have so many award winners. Sandra Shaler, is Sandra here today? I didn't see Sandra, but
Her daughter just had a baby. She's in North Carolina.
Oh, well, congratulations, Sandra. Well done. Shelley Carlisle, June. Stephanie Fellhauer, 4 transactions in July. Congratulations, Stephanie. Tanya Houghton, June. Tanya. Tony. I thought Tony.
Tony's here.
Tony, congratulations. Vicky Opapari, I didn't see Vicky today. Wendy Bruner.
Wendy is not here.
Wendy's not here, thank
At
you.
Waterworld with her grandkids.
We know what everyone's doing. Wendy Christ, congratulations. Wes Parsons. What?
Will Davis, June and July.
Okay, so that's for total? Okay, so Will Davis, if you're on Facebook, congratulations, 6 transactions. Well done. That's nice. Oh, we got a couple here. Karina Podensny, June. And congratulations, 5 transactions in the month of June. Amy wow, that's a nice deal. Amy, are you here, Amy? Amy Randolph. Top sales line, 1 transaction at 2.7 million. Nice job. Oh, geez. And then picked up 2 new listings at 3.3 million. Well done to Amy Randolph.
Amy's out visiting her dad, taking some time off.
Valerie Gangus. In July, top listing at 1.7 million. Congratulations. That's nice. Man, you guys are doing some business. Eileen, I wish Eileen was here. Top sales in July at 5.5 million, 7 transactions. Eileen Kitchen. And then total of 7 transactions. Sorry, total 7 transactions in July. That's all for you, Eileen. Nice job. Angie Zerga. Congratulations, 3 transactions July. Brooke, 4 transactions for July. Congratulations, Brooke. Beth, congratulations for Power Pro.
Woohoo!
Beth Strong.
That's you.
Beth is here somewhere. Brent Crawford, 3 transactions June, sorry. Kara Hoherd. Kara's here. Power Pro, congratulations. Don Cassidy, Power Pro, congratulations. Dennis Trujillo? Is Dennis here? Yeah, Don, it's you. Nope. Eluz, Power Pro, July. Congratulations. Ernie's not here. Janet is not here. Judy Simpson. Is Judy Simpson here? She's not. Julie Cochran. Constantina.
Constantina's here.
Is Constantina here?
Yes.
Yay, congratulations. Christy Oliva, Lacey Emmett, Lainey Dort. Lainey, congratulations, Lainey. Power Pro. Is that her first one? Is that your first one here?
Is this your first Power Pro, Lainey?
Congratulations, that's your first one here. Louis King, Matthew Engelhardt, Marcel Savoy, Mark Baker, 5 transactions June. Congratulations. Mary Deckard, congratulations. Mary's here. Got her off the sailboat. Michael Carter, July, 3 transactions. Congratulations, Michael. Monica Askew, Power Pro. Monica, congratulations. She's here, congratulations. Nicole Warden. See, I told you, almost half of you guys are up here. Raleigh, congratulations. And Rocio Where's Rocio? I saw you. There you are. Congratulations. A round of applause.
It does not look like the market is slowing down. You're gonna
Yeah,
stay
the
on
market
20
is
with
not
these.
slowing down. You guys are killing it. If you think it's slowing down, then come hang out with these people, because it's who you surround yourself
How do we
with
wanna do
is what you got going on. I don't know, put them all up here.
Can we turn off the
We can turn off the
projector?
projector, Paul. Yeah, can we line you, just group you all up here?
I don't know.
Oh, really?
Figure it out. Couple rows. Tall people in the
There.
That one's fun.
And again, to be a Power Pro, 2 closings in a month, to attend lunch, 4 closings in a quarter.
And lunch today is at the Rio.
Today we are going to the Rio Grande,
Yes.
so if you got an invitation and you didn't RSVP, we do still have room for you to join us.
Nice. I can get you guys all on that picture. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Got it. We'll do one more. 1, 2, 3. Nice job.
Nice job, congratulations. One last thing before we wrap up. Please go on to Dora and check when your license expires and write that date in your calendar. It happens almost every month that an agent's license is expired and they don't know it. And we do audits every couple months, and corporate will say, you've got this person in your company, but we don't see them on Dora. And we go on to Dora and go, oops, they're in our company, but their license expired and they didn't know it. And it's your responsibility. Dora doesn't send you an email. I don't send you an email. So go on, double check your expiration date, write it on your calendar, and then do a tickler like a month out that says, renew. So please do that so that you don't expire. That's not something we want. Anything else? Anything we can do for you guys?
Do we have time to do a couple new listings or no?
We can do a couple of new listings real quick. If you want to promote your listing, come up here, grab the mic, and promote your listing. We won't put it on the video, but we'll do it until, we got 8 minutes. So we'll give you guys 8 minutes and get you out of here. Next month, we're going to have a realtor panel. So we're reaching out to a handful of our agents here, not necessarily top producers, because sometimes you guys want to know how to just to get to the next level. I don't need to figure out how to make $20 million this year. I'd like to do $5 million in sales. So we're going to have several different agents, and you guys can ask questions of what are you doing and what have you done to grow your business. So we'll have agents who've been in the business like 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and then different levels. So we'll be reaching out to a handful of you guys, asking you for your participation. We haven't called yet. Okay, take it away.
Hi, I'm Amy Morris. I'm a new equity agent. I have a listing in Landmark, the 2 towers off of I-25 between Bellevue and Orchard. I'm sure you guys have driven by them a million times. It's on the 12th floor in the East Tower. It has a gorgeous southern view to Pikes Peak, a very big living, dining, kitchen, open area, 2 beds, 2.5 baths, laundry room. The amenities in Landmark, if you're not familiar with them, are phenomenal. There is a club room, a theater, a catering kitchen, a dining room for, I think you can probably fit 30 people for a sit-down dinner in there. Gorgeous pool, workout, yoga room. It's real, 24-hour concierge. It's really a lifestyle choice, and it's 1202 in the East Tower. It is 2,000 square feet, $1,125,000, and we've had about 10 or 12 showings in a couple of weeks. We've had 3 serious people return, and we're just kind of waiting. I call the agents, they give me feedback, they call their buyers, and it goes back and forth and around like that. So if you guys are interested in bringing any agents by, we'd love it. I am thinking about doing an open house this weekend, but I haven't put it in motion because my daughter's in labor as we speak. So I'm first up at the mic, and I am last one in and first one out because I've got to go. Thanks a lot, and I'd love to do showings for you anytime. Thank you.
Our microphone has died, so you're gonna really project.
All right, we'll do without that. All right, Stephanie Feldhauer, 720-692-4633. I have one in Castle Rock, 1561 Olympia Circle. It's in the Sawgrass condo unit, and it's right off Plum Creek Golf Course, so it is a golf course community. 1133 square feet, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It is a ranch-style home, all on one level. Updated, it's beautiful, and it's listed at $255. Can't get any better than that. $300 a month HOA fee with community room, pool, all the extra amenities. And any questions on that one? Okay.
Can you give the number?
Yes, 749-5629.
749-5629?
Yes. Please come see it. Okay, I have another one, townhouse off of 5392 South Piccadilly. This is off Trail Ridge, and it is at 1419 square feet, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, completely renovated. And these are little side-by-side townhomes that are wonderful, 2-car garage, well done, nice spacious backyards, rather private. This one's going at $325, and HOA is only $107 a month. So 2 really, really good places. Oh yes, 396-7818. Please come here. Thank you.
Hi, Greg Tiffin. My phone number, if anyone's interested in these houses, is 720-635-6066. I've got a couple of coming soon listings. This one in Parker is a real good opportunity for someone looking for a real clean home that hasn't been updated completely since it was built in 1999. It's across from the 17th hole on a very unique peninsula-shaped lot. It's about 3,100 square feet plus the unfinished basement, and it'll be priced under $600,000. They're about $580. So it'll be on the market just before Labor Day weekend. So they're doing some final things to get it ready, but it'll be a great opportunity. It could easily be a 650 house, to a 700 house with a remodeled kitchen. So great opportunity. The next one is coming up the market at the end of this week. It's 725 South Clinton Street, Unit 4B. It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. It'll be priced at $147,500 in the wonderful Windsor Gardens neighborhood. And it's really clean, great property, newer carpet, fresh paint. The kitchen's old, but it's priced accordingly. If this was updated, it would be more in the 175 range. So it's a great opportunity for someone. It's really easy to show, so that'll be in the MLS by Friday. So, and I've got a current listing that's been on the market for a little while down in the Spire building. It's been reduced now to $420,000. It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. If anyone's ever visited the Spire building on 14th and Stout, it's really the amenities are quite incredible it's a great value, priced at $420,000 for a rental. So, thanks.
Michael Carter, 065986. I've got a listing, right now it's on 34 Burgundy Court, Highlands Ranch area. It's right off of Broadway and Highlands Ranch Parkway there. It's on a cul-de-sac, it's on the corner, and it's 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and we listed it 2 weeks ago, and the seller, this is your favorite type of seller, she decided she needed to do some updating after we listed it. So we had to take it, make it inactive for showings for a bit. Well, we didn't make it inactive, we just stopped showing so she could do some work. And then this project has grown. So she's gone from just painting the cabinets to painting the whole house inside and all new wood flooring now. So hopefully by Friday we're going to be able to have some showings. So anybody who's interested in doing an open house this weekend, will let me know, and I'll put it up and let everybody know if we need somebody to do it. But this one is priced right now at $524,900, and we're going to do a price increase because of the updates that she's done. So hopefully we can get a little bit more positive feedback from her. But anyway, 34 Burgundy Court, yes.
How many garages?
It's 2-car garage. So basement is not finished, this one, but it's gonna have all new flooring, new paint, new cabinets. So anyway, any questions? Email me, Michael@CarterColoradoHomes.com. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Allison Lashnet, 720-839-8000. I have a coming soon. It is actually my personal home in Highlands Ranch. It's a little over 2,700 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 4 baths. It's been completely updated, hardwood floors, granite countertops, marble countertops in the master. Brand new roof, brand new HVAC, brand new hot water heater, brand new driveway. So bring your buyers. Would love to work with an equity agent. Unfinished basement is a little over 1,000 square feet. It will go on the market right after Labor Day, priced around $620,000.
How many garages?
3-car garage. Oh, in Mountain Vista Feeder, Mountain Views too.
Hi, Rocio Castelli. I have a coming soon, a detached family home in Denver, 3737 West Cedar Avenue in Barnum. It's going to be listed for $325,000. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath bungalow, 821 finished square feet, and it has an additional unfinished 400-foot basement. It's a big lot, which is zoned to build an accessory dwelling, which are very popular. It has a car park, it's renovated, has new roof and new electrical. If you have any questions or you have anyone that could be interested, my number is 303-883-4053. I'm sorry.
Hey, Mark Baker. I've got a pretty sweet investment opportunity. It's a duplex for $425,000. It's right where 285 and Broadway come together. It's sort of that new South Broadway development. So 3-bed, 2-bath. Like I said, it's a duplex. If you guys are interested, let me know. 3-car garage. It's pretty awesome. $3,000 would be the rental income. That's what current rental was. So,
Mark, is it currently rented?
we just had them move out, so they can do some renovations. So it'll actually probably be worth more.
Hi everyone, I'm Angie Jurgot. I don't have quite the Propel voice today, so if you have any questions, you might want to come a little closer. I have 3 coming soon. 2 of them in Aurora, 2 single families. They're both going to be listed around $330,000. One is a tri-level in the Kingsborough area, one of the smaller tri-levels, about 1,300 square feet. It's on a cul-de-sac, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, great landscaping, a great yard. So if you have someone looking for a single family in 80013 in Aurora, 330, that's a pretty good opportunity. I have another one that's going to be coming up in the Burns neighborhood. That's 80010, sorry. That's a single family. It's a ranch with no basement. A little over 1,100 square feet. It's been recently remodeled, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. And then I have one coming in the Pinery. That is 5 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's a ranch style home with a walkout basement on a gorgeous treed lot. So if you're looking for someone who's looking for that kind of mountain feel, that one is going to be listed at $490,000. Angie Jurgat. Thanks.
Andrew Wong from Colorado Springs. So my listing is in the Bubble MLS as well as Colorado Springs MLS. So you guys would have to do our MLS in the search to pull it up. It's 35 acres and it actually has access to electricity for a whopping $30,000. What? 30,000. And it has electricity. It's got a recorded easement for a road, so you don't have to establish anything like that. If you're interested in more acreage, there's actually an adjacent lot for 35,000 acres as well, so 70,000 total. That's also going for 30,000. So if you just want one lot, then it would be lot 43. If you want both lots, you can purchase them together as total of 70,000 acres. So let me know. My number's 719.
Come with water rights?
No. There is water in the town of Gardner, and it's in Gardner, just like a little south of Gardner, and it's a really nice piece of land. There's tons of BLM property, like here's the south part, and there's one more property right here, but it's like in a flood zone. Obviously it's in a huge arroyo, and then just beyond that there's tons of BLM, and so it won't ever be developed, hopefully. Cross fingers somebody doesn't release it. So there's BLM there, there's BLM over here, and it's like a horseshoe, so you're surrounded by mountains over here, big horn sheep, little horn sheep. The sand dunes are just beyond that mountain range. 3.5 mile hike to the sand dunes, beautiful hikes up there and land, and the electricity is huge too though. So the water, there's a natural spring you can access in Gardner. I don't know how much it is to get the water there, but a lot of people just get the big tubs of water on their trucks and fill it up and just go and fill their cisterns. So
Right.
thank you. Oh, 719-651-3144. Thank you.
I have an apartment in Denver, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, almost 1,000 square feet for $237 coming in 2 weeks. 11187 Alcott Street, apartment D, all the ceilings, carpet floors, fireplace, updated bathroom, and all the appliances and washing drying.
How much?
$237.
Great. Thanks, Liz.
Thanks everyone for being here. I've got to rush. I got to go to the Rio and have lunch with those of you that are at the Power Pros. I will see you there.